Before we jump into the video, guys, I need to let you know that I updated all of the perks that you get by supporting my Patreon page for the Madden 19 season. It is 10 times as much value as we offered last season. Go check that out if you feel like going above and beyond to support my channel. Let's get into the video. What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and welcome to today's video, which will be forever known as C4's Ultimate Madden 19 Scouting Guide 1.0, because, you know, there will be changes throughout the season. There will be patches that will change attribute indicators, that will change combine grades, that ultimately affect what kind of prospects that we will be seeing today. So we'll probably have to modify it down the line. And, you know, there's other people that are more established with their draft guides, so there'll be other information available, you know, a month or two in. I'm here to help you right out the gate, dominate your offline drafts, dominate imported custom draft classes, dominate your online franchises, and everything in between. I have been regarded in the community as the Madden Draft God. I personally like to be called Mr. Draft God. But what I have done here today is we have taken some influence from Madden 18, which we'll show in just a second, and I have done an experiment in Madden 19, kind of going behind the engine, behind the closed door, if you will, for premier attributes. So when I do the Madden 19 experiment and break it down, remember, it is for the elite of the elite. We're not talking, you know, 74 to 78 overall guys that might be able to start. Could be nice project type players, you know, decent starters right away. We're going to be highlighting the elite of the elite, those 83, 82 superstar, 84, 85, 86, 87 superstars, the once in a draft, the guys that you see every couple years. These are going to be the parameters I'm going to be showcasing that you guys can use to base your draft boards off when you're finding good prospects, and you can measure up what the elite of the elite combine grades and the elite of the elite attribute grades will stack up against whatever prospect that you are working with. So what we are doing today, I just have my first custom draft class here just in the background. Sorry, all you console guys on PC. But to show you kind of what I was thinking when I was making my experiment to find the elite of the elite is when you go to edit a player. We'll just edit Nick Bosa here for shits and giggles. We'll do Nick Bosa. They give you parameters this year while you're designing your player. It gives you the rating ranges where, for example, here's his speed. It shows you what an elite speed is. Has the low end of 81, that's the entry point, and 84. That would means that the fastest overall left end that you can draft will have 84 speed. They have this for every single thing. Strength, they have it for awareness. They have it here for obviously the more specific attributes for a defensive tackle, like impact blocking, tackling, hit power, block shedding, finesse power, all that stuff. So what you're going to see in our comparison of our experiment, I'm going to have one player that is the max of every single one of these attributes. So his tackling would be 83, as you can see for the elite, 86 hit power, 84 block shed, 84 finesse, 85 power move, sorry. And then the other player is going to be the lowest entry point. So he's going to have 80 power move, 80 finesse move, 81 block shed, so on and so forth, to give us our ranges for identifying the truly elite of the elite talents. Let's get into that now. All right, well, we're going to start first with our experiment with taking a look at the quarterbacks. So on the max stat side, that is the elite of the elite, the highest overalls that you can get through the draft via quarterback, all put into one prospect. The min stats represent the lowest elite overalls that you can get in a quarterback, and in between, that is your comparison. You look for tendencies that you see on both these screens while you're doing your drafts to find not, you know, the average quarterback, not the average 70 starter, to get those 83, 84, 85 pluses. So we can just see right now, common denominator is at A+ throw power, and the throw accuracy short as the second top priority that you did scout. And then obviously, like I said, with the 40-yard dash and stuff, as we go through this, I might as well explain it now than doing it every single time we do the positions. Like the 40-yard dash, that is the fastest quarterback you will find. You know what I'm saying? The vert jump, that's the most, like, that's why they're all number one outside of like bench press. Sometimes stuff like that is a little bit random, but for the most part, like 95% of it is the elite of the elite. So if you're looking for a mobile quarterback and he's as close to that 4.51 right there or in the 4.5s, you know that he's going to be a QB that's going to be possessing that Lamar Jackson type speed. So there we go for the quarterbacks. Let's move on to the running backs. Here is what the test has deemed the results for the running back position. Again, carrying is always going to be a top attribute. trucking, and ball carrier vision. This was the common denominator for both of the elite players, which means most of the elite running backs, the truly special ones, are going to follow this formula of when you unlock their skills, it's going to be carrying, trucking, and ball carrier vision. And I remember 100% in Madden 18, carry and trucking were always the top 2 stats on the really, really good running backs. I decided to show the fullbacks some love here. I mean, there's no, precursor from Madden 18 that, deciphered a good fullback, but here's what we did. I guess, you obviously really want lead blocking for the most part. You guys, who really wants their running back to carry it? But I guess more so actually the Combine report is the best, because who's really going to spend their scouting points on a fullback? So getting these tendencies down for the Combine will help you be able to get those 6th, 7th undrafted fullbacks that could bring great value to your rosters. Moving to the wideouts, which was a position I found in Madden 18 that was pretty inconsistent. Even with the guidelines, I still found it occasionally tough to draft a wide receiver. So here are the parameters for the elite of the elite wide receivers in Madden 19. At least you can see just from this that deep route running and spectacular catch both show up. So those should be 2 of the main, when you unlock all the attributes by your scouting points, you better hope that you can get spectacular and deep route. And obviously, you always want the 40-yard dash, as you can tell by the max guy. Usually anything in the 4.45, somewhere sub that range. 3-cone drill, 20-yard shuttle is always very important as well. Again, following very similar tendencies from Madden 18. Moving to the tight ends. Now, I can say right now, tight end is one of the immediate positions I can tell has changed drastically. I saw a lot of my tight end grades out the jump in Madden 19 being like in the 4s, low 5s, whereas a dead giveaway in Madden 18 was getting the tight ends that were 6 combine grade plus, had great 40-yard dash times, were primarily blocking tight ends. But as we look at the comparison here in the tight ends, trying to find common denominators, look, the exact same 3 skills are popping up. So, this is, here's pretty much what happens. If you do find a stud, not necessarily it's going to be these players. It won't be these players because these are, prototype built in a science lab somewhere tight ends. But when you are unlocking your attributes for your tight ends in scouting, if you're getting catch and traffic, catching and short route running popping up as the top traits, and you get somewhere similar with these combine stats, you're probably in line to get one of those very, I would say somewhat common for what I've been able to see in my draft classes, 80 overall tight ends. You just need to know what to look for, and this should hopefully help you out. All right, offensive line time. Starting with left tackle, I'll be straight up honest with you. You can always just draft the left tackle that got 34, 35 plus bench press, and you'll probably still will be able to get, 74, 75. But again, the point of this video is to find that outright day 1 rookie starting franchise tackle. So here we have the common denominators. It does fluctuate a little bit, but the run block shows up. You got the pass block power also shows up. So the fact that those are the 2 common traits that came up with both these prospects, those would be the traits that I'm looking for when I'm unveiling when I'm spending my scouting points. And obviously always consider the bench press with minimum. As you can see, the minimum of an elite tackle is 34 bench press. So make note of that. Going to left guard, pretty much the same. Impact blocking and run blocking both showing up on the elite and the mini elite, and minimum of 36 bench press reps. That's what you should be looking for. At center, again, these are all pretty much going to be fairly similar. We get impact blocking and run blocking both showing up with a minimum of 38 reps to get a really, really good center. But like I said, man, centers, pretty much anywhere on the offensive line, get that minimum 30. That would be the absolute minimum. That would probably be like a 70, at least 70 plus offensive lineman. But 34, anything above, go for it. But that is kind of interesting that for center to get like, the 80, guaranteed 80 plus center, it has to be like the entry point is 38 reps on the bench press. That seems kind of high, but that's what the experiment told me. Moving to right guard, here we go. Impact blocking and run block finesse. So this is the first time on the offensive line all 3 attributes line up from the best of the best to, what we have is just a really good player. And it looks like the entry point to start looking for your franchise right guard, trying to maybe get the next Zach Martin or Brandon Brooks, is 35 reps on the bench press. Finishing up on the offensive line at the right tackle spot, here we go. We got pass block power and run block showing up, and there is a big entry point. I was really, really surprised when I was doing this experiment, doing the sim, to find out that really the parameters for right tackle were drastically more high than what you had to get the entry point for a left tackle. I mean, forever it's been left tackles are the franchise tackles, right tackles are the weaker of the 2 tackles. But as you can see, man, they're athletic freaks. 38 reps is the entry point. I can tell you right now from my randomized draft classes that I've done, right tackle has been without a doubt the most sparing position so far. That's not a safety, because let's be honest, safeties are, usually few and far between. Very odd to see right tackles, but so far right tackles for me just randomly generated prospects. There has not been very many high bench press guys just to cheese, so I guess that is kind of good, add some difficulty, and hopefully now knowing kind of our draft guide here, it can help us out. So keep on the lookout for that minimum 38 bench press right tackle. All right, on the defensive side, we're starting with defensive end. Now, it's the same for right and left. I did not find a discrepancy between the two spots. As you can see, you're always going to get hit power, which, it's always one of the most nonsense points because it doesn't really matter. But pursuit is the common denominator. I would ever say ignore block shedding. That's one area I found in Madden 18. Me personally, block shedding, anytime a guy had at least a B- to B block shed, he was pretty damn good. So I would definitely keep an eye on that. You can see the bench press, they got to be 30 plus. And you gotta have, broad jump is also another key position. As you can see, first and second were one of the very close similarities between our two prospects. Moving to D tackle, which unlike, the inverse of the right tackle and say the safeties, I've seen defensive tackle be maybe the cheesiest position so far to draft. And here we go, man. Look, you got to have a strong guy that gets 96, 97, 98 strength. So you got to be looking for that 42 bench press. But for me, D tackle last year, I was always the guy that had block shed, had the 40, and had the bench press. And we're seeing that here, at least on the lower tier prospect. Hit power is on both, which is kind of frustrating, as well as power moves. But those are the parameters. And my God, if that guy on the right, like that guy on the left was a real prospect, it'd be like a combination of Reggie White and Warren Sapp. Moving to the outside linebackers, like defensive end, there was no differences between right and left. So here are the key tendencies. Again, hit power is bucking up its ugly head. We have tackle and pursuit. So I guess that's a great starting point that helps us out because those are always the three that you want to look for. Never ignore a very high combine grade for any linebacker, inside or outside. That's usually almost a dead giveaway. You're going to want 30 plus reps on the bench press to get the elite, and something that is, obviously the fastest you'll get is a 4.5, 4.40, but getting that 4.54 to 4.6 range for that speedster ability. Now, I am disappointed that I don't think through the different drafts that I've done, coverage ability has come up, because I do think more and more I want to see what the zone coverage is on my linebackers, because it is becoming a passing league, and the fact that that is not a tendency or skill trait that will pop up during your scouting is still a little annoying to me. But it is rinse and repeat pretty much from last year's scouting process in Madden 18, so I'm not really surprised. Look at the inside linebackers. Okay. Entry point for bench press, 29 reps minimum. You want that 4.6 40-yard dash, somewhere in that range. We got pursuit showing up, we got tackle, and we got hit power. It's that was pretty much a given. I could have told you that right away. So those are the tendencies for inside linebackers on going to get you the next Luke Kuechly, the next Bobby Wagner. We're not talking about getting you the next Casey Matthews or the next, what do we got here? Who's just a terrible starting linebacker? The next, oh my God. Zach Brown. Oh, shots fired at Redskins fans. He's actually not that bad at all. These are to get the next Luke Kuechlys. So here you go. All right, now we're into the secondary. I would say without a doubt in my draft god history, secondary players have been pretty difficult for me to draft because unless it's a glaring obvious number one corner, finding those late round guys, it's the tendencies and stuff have always been completely random. So hopefully we all get some luck with this. As we can see, you want the 40-yard dash because corners can possess upwards of 98 speed. That's what that 4.24 brings. I have yet to see anyone run faster than that, like someone contend John Ross, where I think in Madden 18 they did have that. Some people were tagging me in like 4.22s and stuff. But vertical jump, 3-cone, and 20-yard shuttle are incredibly important, as we saw here, first and second for both these players respectively. And obviously you get the three main stats of press, man, and zone. And of all those, for the most part, press should be the weakest, but as you can see on the right-hand side, press is actually the strongest. And this guy here, this corner is probably an 80, 81, somewhere in that range. So maybe that's a slight difference from Madden 18 to Madden 19 is maybe value the press a little bit more. And finishing up the experience with the safeties, this was actually surprising. I did not see a difference between free and strong because, I mean, in reality, there's a difference. But this is what we're coming at. Hit power, tackle, and pursuit were the three main traits that commonly came up. You can see the entry point very close, 26, 27 reps to get a guy that's an able tackler. All these guys had really, really high hit power. You got the 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, and the 40-yard dash, which are very, very important, as well as the jumping helps every now and again. But I really do like these positions that don't have a lot of defining factors that separates them. I like when they're all lumped together. You have the three traits. It's a narrow, one-track mindset when you're looking through the crap to try to find the best of the bunch. And like I said, this is not no middle of the mall safety. This is getting your next Harrison Smith, Eric Berry, Malcolm Jenkins. So there you go, guys. All right, and lastly, I also want to include this in. Shout out to Nate Dogg on the Madden Reddit for making this little fine graph here. This is all credit to him. These are the stories that, you know, your draft stories that you can find throughout. Right now, I don't know if anyone else had this issue, but on me on PC, I've only got like 1 or 2 draft stories, but I've got enough to guarantee that that they still exist, and they're still pretty much copy and paste. I showed a little preview of the rugby player. Everyone knows the rugby player. But yeah, week 15, you find the Heisman Trophy winner. That guy's guaranteed to be superstar. So I can't verify all these are still the same, but I know for a fact that I've seen rugby player. I've seen the MMA trainer, the former boxer, the football convert. I've seen the recently moved, and I've seen the Heisman. So I would assume, because nothing else has drastically changed, these are all the same. So these are definitely something that you want to look at if you absolutely want to cheese the system and ensure that not only the freak prospects that you're drafting are good and top of the line and franchise players, but they start out with that superstar dev trait. All right, so now that all that is out of the way, we still need to kind of have our baseline, because not everyone's going to be in the market for drafting a superstar player. Not every draft is going to have the superstar players that we highlighted here. Those are just, you know, the belle of the ball. So we're going to reference the Madden 18 baselines. If players aren't meeting these minimum requirements, do not draft them. That's how we'll end this video to get you guys the ultimate draft guide. It's from Reboot Christianity. He posted these. I took them from his website, so I'm giving him full credit. Absolutely everything goes to him. I just made it actually look nicer with player cuts and stuff like that. So for each individual position, this will be the first part of the video. These, jot these down, pause the video, whatever, are the minimum requirements. I found that they have almost carried over exactly from Madden 18 to Madden 19, because it has been kind of rinse and repeat for the scouting and drafting process here, minus obviously some visual upgrades. So these, we're going to start with, I would not touch any player at each of these respective positions if they didn't meet this minimum threshold. So here we have the quarterbacks, which will be flying up right there. Go, guys. I hope that you have been able to jot this down, save this video, and make note of how you can not only find the bottom tier guys that are still going to be studs, the late round studs, by knowing that the Madden 18 thresholds for, you know, minimum requirements have carried over, but now you also will be able to dominate the top end of your draft and find the elite. I don't want to say once in a generation, because usually from some of these prospects we have shown, you might get 1 or 2 in a draft class, you know, those 82 plus players. I hope that you guys have been able to learn something in today's video, and if you did, please subscribe. Madden 19 season is going to be my almost all or nothing year to finally, you know, start to take control and actually develop as a YouTube channel. So subscribing would definitely go a long way. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Feel free to share it around if you want. Maybe not. Maybe you don't want to share it around because your league mates may find out about it, and they will also now have an advantage when it comes to drafting in your franchise modes. But thank you guys for watching as always, and until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.
You ain't messing with the flow, you ain't messing with my vision, messing with the money, you ain't messing with decisions. Yeah, you messing with the team, and you messing with the squad, mess with one of